Ho, ho, ho. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Breaking It Downs podcast. I'm your host, Julie Downs, and I am joined by a very special celebrity guest. We have Santa in the house. How are you doing there, Santa?
Hello, Miss Julie. Ho, ho, ho. You've been a good girl this year.
I've been an excellent girl, Santa, so I expect some very nice presents.
Have you made correct picks this year, including last night?
Well, Santa, now that you mention it, my original co-host Greg had that wild game last night. The Chargers game picked correctly. Although the Chargers didn't look like they were going to cover that spread, win anything.
No. They did not. Double-digit deficit did not look good at all. Nice comeback, Herbert. Excellent game. Really interesting note in this game. Something happened that hasn't in 50 years in the NFL. So, fair catch to end the half. Denver punts, Chargers. There's going to be no time left. But there's a rule in the NFL that, which you need time left though, when you have a fair catch, you can free kick or drop kick. You're looking at Santa ready to laugh. This is a true. Santa watches football.
All right.
Hey, true story. So, because there was a penalty, though, you get an untimed play. So, literally, the Chargers lined up for a 57-yard field goal. Dicker the kicker. It was the weirdest thing you've ever seen. Don't get naughty here. That's what his nickname is. Take it easy over here. Okay?
I have to behave. I'm sitting next to Santa. This is very difficult.
Anyhow. So, really neat, though. You look and they're not allowed to defend it. They're not allowed to get in the line of scrimmage, not try to block it. He kicked that 57-yard field goal to get it within 8, which is a big play in the game. That got Chargers within one score. Chargers rolled in the second half, covered, win. Nice job of the Chargers, both in playoff position, but the Chargers needed it more than Denver.
All right. Well, Santa, it's time for your naughty or nice list. Let's kick it off with who's getting coal in their stockings this year. What teams are on the naughty list?
Not Miss Julie?
No, I'm a good girl.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, you have been to Tennessee, and we're going to start with them at number 3. 3-11, early lead versus Cincy. Will Levis was horrendous. 3 interceptions in the game. He probably would have thrown 8 if he stayed in. He got benched fittingly, which makes Santa happy. Do you know who's the starting quarterback this week?
Rudolph,
the red-nosed QB, will be under center. They're number 3. We'll get to them later. Number 2, the Vegas Raiders. 10-game losing streak. They actually had a late comeback on Monday night against the Falcons. It was much the Falcons' ineptitude. Aiden O'Connell now. Desmond Ridder was not very good. He's not usually been very good. Aiden O'Connell should be back. They're number 2. And take a guess who number 1 is.
The team that Greg loves to just...
Yeah, Santa. Yeah. Santa had...
I don't even know. There's no words.
Santa had to give him a break. It's been a tough year. He's been a good boy, but it's been tough on him with the G-Men. It's a lot of paper bags. He needs some time in the North Pole. So he's helping Santa's elves right now, just so you know.
Fair.
So, the G-Men, sadly, this is where they actually showed effort in that game. They caused a fumble to Lamar Jackson early. Cutlets was pounded, replaced by Tim Boyle. They still lost by 3 touchdowns. Drew Lock is expected back. That probably means a lock to lose once again.
You took the words out of my mouth, Santa.
Well, so the G-Men, yep, they're number 1 on the not so nice list.
Okay, Santa, enough bah humbug. Who is getting gifts under the tree this year?
Well, we got to start in Kansas City. Well, they've had 2 Lombardi trophies as a gift. I can't guarantee that, definitely not by Christmas, they'll wake up with a 3rd, but they're still on the way. Big win over Cleveland. Patrick Mahomes' ankle injury, sprained ankle, didn't look too good, but he's had an amazing ability to play injured, bounce back quick. He's going to play on Saturday.
A little bit of Santa's magic helping him out.
13-1, exactly. Wears red like Santa. We put them in number 3.
Okay.
Number 2, we're going to go up north to Buffalo. A lot of reindeer. They love Buffalo. A lot of snow, lake effect. That's my people up there, the reindeer. So, huge win at Detroit. Unstoppable offense. You can't stop the sleigh when it's rolling. You know that.
No.
48 points.
Goff put up some decent points as well.
He had 5
touchdowns. It was a shootout.
But yeah, they gave up 48. We'll get to them in a second.
Anyway.
Interesting, the Bills joined the 1966 Giants, the only team in NFL history, teams to score over 40 and give up over 40 in consecutive weeks.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, actually.
Fun fact.
Josh Allen playing like the NFL MVP favorite. They're at number 2. And number 1.
Does this pain you, Santa?
It does. And I can't guarantee Santa will treat them well on Christmas. But they're on his okay list as far as playing right now. Dominant win over Pittsburgh.
We're talking the Philadelphia Eagles. That aren't following along at home.
They had one stat you need to know and one only. They held the ball for 40 of the 60 minutes. There's the game.
Yeah.
Passing game back on track. Hurts 3 TDs. As much as it pains me to admit it, they are looking like right now the most complete team in the NFL. The D has substantially improved, and yeah. But Santa has other things to focus on.
All right. Well, Santa, it's time for Christmas treats for everyone as we reveal our picks for this week. We'll start off on Saturday, where we have Kansas City. They are 3.5-point favorites over Houston.
Well, Santa's keeping really busy, and we're at that time of year. Every day is important. So here we go, Saturday. So we talked about Mahomes, the injury. He is going to play, it looks like. Okay. Almost definitely. Good note for the Chiefs, Hollywood Brown. Big acquisition, speedster wide receiver who's missed the whole year so far. He is back. Mm-hmm. Houston, coming off the bye week, had one of their best wins of the year. Pretty dominant performance over Miami. Offense seems to be getting better. This line has moved substantially, obviously, because early in the week they thought Mahomes was out.
Sure.
They were initially underdogs. They are now 3.5-point favorites.
All right. Chiefs cover win.
I think the Chiefs, they covered last week, but I think that's only the fifth or sixth game they've covered all year. I don't see this changing. I do question a little bit Mahomes' mobility to a degree. He'll still be all right. I think they win in a close game. They stay on Santa's good list, but Houston covers.
On to the battle for the King of the North.
Wait a minute. Aren't I the King of the North?
Game of Thrones, maybe? No.
Yeah, but I'm the King of the North. I'm Santa Claus.
You're the King of the North Pole, Santa.
Do you want to be on Santa's naughty list? You better stick to the script here, young lady. Okay, Mrs. Claus, carry on.
Don't interrupt me there, Santa. I have my own list. Baltimore, 6.5-point favorites over Pittsburgh.
So Baltimore goes without saying. The G-Men win was it's like playing the elves. And I love my elves, but that's the equivalent. Lamar 5 touchdowns past week. Crazy stat. He's got 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Unbelievable. Pittsburgh, the big news for there is the injury concerns. So TJ Watt, their star defensive end, he left the game last week. It looks like he will play. Not sure if it's 100%. And their main receiver, George Pickens, probably out again, which that eliminates a lot in the passing game for Pittsburgh. Hence why I think this line is that high, because Pickens has been that important to this offense.
I'm not going to Pickens the Steelers. I'm going to Pickens Baltimore cover and win.
That's not crazy, Mrs. Claus, but I do think it still gets back to Tomlin's 6.5 points division matchup. Baltimore's D's not been great this year. I think Pittsburgh does enough to stay in it. Baltimore wins.
All right, on to Sunday afternoon, where we have Cincinnati 9-point favorites over Cleveland.
So Cincy won the last 2 games. Offense looking good. Burrow and Chase, that connection's been amazing. T. Higgins is playing as well. Crazy because Burrow has some of the best stats you'll ever see for QB, and he's probably not going to make the playoffs. Nope. Cleveland, Jameis Winston, who can be exciting. He wound up on the naughty list. He's been throwing too many interceptions.
Yeah.
So coach put coal in his stocking, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson will now be the QB, which I will say this, limits the ceiling of Cleveland. Definitely Winston's arm talent is better.
Okay.
Robinson will play more of a controlled, won't turn the ball over as much. It'll be more of a ho-hum, but not as volatile, not the interception threat as much as Jameis turnover threat. And Nick Chubb, one of the Browns' stud running back, unfortunately, is out for the year. They have another good running back, Jerome Ford, but.
Did they finish their Santa?
Not at all, but for now I am.
Okay, Santa. I'm going to say Cleveland covers and Cincy wins.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, like I said, Robinson will limit the turnovers. They'll try to take the air of the ball. And since he's O-line has not been great all year, their D's not great. I don't see it as a blowout. I'm with you.
Next up, we have the Detroit Lions, who fell off of the nice list. They are 7-point favorites at Chicago.
So this is sad, but this is a joke that was being made Santa chuckle. Ho, 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 ho. They were calling them the Detroit Lions because there's no D in Detroit last week. But sadly, it's as much injury. I don't know if I've ever seen a team with as many people injured on one side of the ball. So they lost 3 more defensive players, 2 starters, Carlton Davis, a cornerback, Aleem McNeil, defensive tackle. Like they're literally playing. Their defense is going to play guys they probably took off the street weeks ago. Sad. And on top of that, one of their 2 stud running backs, David Montgomery, he's lost probably for the year now as well. So not only a loss in the standings, division, everything, a devastating loss for them. The Bears, quickly on their hand,
Speaking of losses,
Bears are close to the naughty list as well. 8-game losing streak, trounced by Minnesota on Monday night. That's where we're at.
I think the Bears losing streak continues. However, I do think they pull out a cover.
I'm with you too. I would think they score enough points against that banged up D to at least make it interesting. Bears cover, Lions would.
Okay. LA Rams, 3.5-point favorites at the New York Jets.
Santa has to add one tidbit about this. The Jets, talk about disaster. It came out this week that they didn't trade for Jerry Jeudy. And but this is apparently these sources are pretty reliable. That Woody Johnson's son and Woody thought that Jerry Jeudy's Madden rating in the video game wasn't high enough. No, this is not a joke. And on top of that, get this. When Ulbrich, the new coach, won his first game, Aaron Rodgers had the ball ready to hand it to him, to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Woody Johnson's 17-year-old son, 16, 17, teenage kid in the locker room, totally interrupts Rodgers. Screams profanities and hands a game ball to Garrett Wilson. A Jet player unnamed said this was the most awkward, ridiculous picture. Aaron Rodgers, whether you like him or not, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He's handing the coach his first win game ball. And this DB of a son, yeah, that's where the Jets are at. Do you believe that? This led the McAfee show the other day to show you Boost Cat disaster. Anyhow, do I need to tell you more about the Jets?
I hated the Jets before. I hate them more now. And never, ever will I pick them again.
Crazy. Apparently the GM.
And dominating win over the Jets because they need to be shown their place because that behavior is
it's
naughty.
It's beyond. Rams quickly. Hot football, big win in San Fran, put themselves in top of the NFC West. They're now 7-7 of the last 9. The Jets actually had a very exciting win over Jacksonville last week.
They did. We were actually out watching it
and
with Jets fans.
Yep, and Aaron Rodgers did play great. Crazy enough, he definitely healthier. He led the team in rushing with 45 yards, which is insane.
Yeah.
Him and Devon, the offense went nuts. Problem is their D was horrendous to Mac Jones, almost lost. That's where we're at. Getting 3.5 points at home to the Rams. I guess you already.
I already made my pick. The Rams. Come on,
tell you what,
keep up.
I think the Jet offense has been doing enough lately. This is a Rams win, but the Jets will find a way to lose. They'll move the ball, find a way to lose. Jets cover, Rams win.
Next up, Philly, 3.5-point favorites at Washington.
Now, Santa, this does not make Santa happy.
Santa doesn't like these teams.
No, Santa does not like these teams. Not at all.
Well, Santa,
humbug.
What can you tell me? Excuse me about these
just talk Philly dominant win over Pittsburgh, both sides of the ball.
Yep.
For all intents and purposes, they, to me right now, look like the best team in the league. Washington, 17-point lead in New Orleans, looked to be cruising. Completely blew it, came down to last play, set 2-point conversion that New Orleans did not get. Gave up 8 sacks to the Saints, which that to me is very alarming. New Orleans is not a great team whatsoever. 8 sacks. Since they lost Noah Brown, their second receiver, feel like they're struggling a little bit to find the next guy in the passing attack. They're at home, though. Jaden Daniels, electric. That's what Santa has for you.
Well, Santa, I am going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles to cover and win.
Yeah, if Santa was going to wage a couple of his toys on this, I'd probably buy this down to 3 and take Philly to win. I could see Washington keep it close, but
You're going to put 3.1 million on it?
No, I will not. No, I care more about my toys than that, and I don't have that many toys anyway. Philly to win, barely cover.
All right. Atlanta, 8.5-point favorites over your G-Men.
Are you trying to make Santa? Are you trying to make the naughty list bringing this game up?
Sorry.
Bah humbug, G-Men. 9-game losing streak. Now in line for the top pick. As I said, Drew Lock is in at quarterback. Could be Mr. Bonerbo, Jim Bonerbo in at QB for all we know. Doesn't matter. Can't see, nor can Lock. Interesting news with Atlanta, though. Desperate game out of division lead. Michael Penix is now taking over for Kirk Cousins. And it's weird. Cousins had some huge games on the year.
Then he had some huge turnovers.
One TD, 9 interceptions the last 5 games. It looks like something's wrong, whether it's physical, his arm strength. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I agree. This was the right move. Penix has to give them a shot in the arm offensively because the passing game's been non-existent. Must win for them. That's where we're at.
I am going to say G-Men cover, Atlanta wins.
I agree. I will say one good thing about the G-Men. They have been playing hard. They're terrible. They're decimated. But you are seeing effort. You can kind of see that. Penix's first game at QB. Could see some mistakes. I'm with you. Atlanta wins, G-Men cover.
Okay. Arizona, 4-point favorites at Carolina.
Well, Arizona gave your New England Pats a little bah humbug last week.
Whatever.
Big win over the Pats.
Yeah.
One game back of Seattle and the Rams in the NFC West. All the teams bunched together. They're in must-win territory the rest of the way. Carolina, who had been playing well, step back versus Dallas. Pretty big loss. 4-game losing streak, but take this with a grain of salt. Or a toy in the stocking. A stocking stuffer, let's call it. In that 4-game losing streak, they were a drop pass away from winning at Philly. They lost in overtime to Tampa and almost beat KC. So Carolina has been playing some what about Bryce Young's been playing the best ball of his young career. Where was that?
We're standing with Arizona covers and wins.
Well, I'm going to put your pick on the naughty list because I think this is a prime spot for Carolina to pull off a nice home upset.
You said that last week.
Okay, let me reiterate. I don't like Santa being told, okay, you are officially on. Julie, the spread is Santa, 1 piece of coal to Julie. Carolina, upset win. Don't interrupt Santa.
Anyway. Indianapolis, 3.5-point favorites over Tennessee.
Disaster. This
Colts should be on the natty list. At least Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, don't worry. Santa might have something for them. Stand by on that. Both off disastrous losses. Tennessee, put it this way, this game. They're both bottom 5 in turnovers. Tennessee's dead last. I do think the change from Levis to my lead reindeer, Rudolph, similar to what Cleveland did, it limits the turnovers. So whereas Levis has the bigger arm, Rudolph will at least not make those same mistakes, which I have faith in. Indy, the Richardson and the offense, glimpses at time. We'll get into it in a bit. They were about to take a 2-touchdown lead at Denver, and 5 straight turnovers. You're a complete mess when it comes to them. There is some talent, but that's where you're at.
Rudolph lead Tennessee to a cover and a win.
I'm with you. You're okay. You're okay right now. We can't go against Rudolph. It's his week. Yeah. Rudolph, upset win over the Colts. Good job, Mrs. Claus.
All right. Minnesota, 3-point favorites at Seattle.
So, main thing you need to know, this is going to be tough for Santa to get through the weather to deliver his toys in Seattle this weekend.
And Rudolph's going to be in Tennessee.
Yeah, he'll get there later, but he's not going to have
actually Indy,
visibility probably not great. It's going to be windy, rainy, awful conditions. Quick note about Seattle. Injury, big concerns. Geno Smith hurt his ankle Sunday night when they got blasted by Green Bay. Looks like he will play, but definitely won't be 100%. Mm-hmm. Both their running backs, Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, both very good players, but both we're not sure if one or either of them. It's a question.
Okay.
Minnesota quietly at 12-2. They're not on Santa's top 3 nice list, but they've been hovering, waiting to be a good boy a few more times, and they're going to make the list. So
Jefferson playing?
Jefferson's playing, Addison's playing. Minnesota has most of their big horses, pretty much all of them.
Minnesota cover win.
I think this is an ugly game. I would take Minnesota to win this. I just seeing what Seattle got gashed on the run game by Green Bay last week and not knowing their running back. If they have to drop back and throw all day, they gave up, I think, 7 sacks last week. Geno's going to be in trouble. I'm with you. Give me Minnesota.
Miami, 1-point favorite at San Francisco.
This is a bah humbug game.
It is.
Yeah, both teams, very disappointing season. San Fran in particular, injury ravaged. Number 1 across the whole roster. We documented that. Miami, Jalen Waddle is out. Left tackle Tron Armstead, which is very important. He's questionable. They looked pretty brutal against Houston last week. Tua struggled. You have 2 struggling franchises.
I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to go San Fran cover win.
I'm going to agree with you. I'll take Shanahan. Coach this one to victory. Miami's body language was terrible last week. I'm with you. Give me San Fran.
Rolling into Vegas for one of the worst games in NFL history. We have the Raiders 1-point favorites over Jacksonville.
This is like I come down the chimney and there's no milk left, and the
no cookies.
The cookies are mold, or they're the worst cookies you could ever think of. That's this game. So if we have to talk about it,
we don't have to.
Okay, it is important. It is important for draft status. Actually, the Raiders and G-Men are tied for the worst record in the league. That's going to go down to who has the first draft pick. Being that it's bowl season in the college, we'll call this the toilet bowl because that's what this is. 3-10 versus 2-11. We have Mac Jones at quarterback for Jacksonville. I need to say more?
Nope.
We actually played it right last week, but Jets stink. Looks like Aiden O'Connell will be back for the Raiders.
Okay.
Quarterback matchup. The Raiders could be Plunkett. I'd rather see Plunkett versus Devy. That's it. That's what you're looking at.
Raiders cover win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just can't take Jones and Brian Thomas receiver look good. I can't take them as favorites anywhere. I don't know if the Raiders want to win, but I think they'll play hard for Pierce. Give me the Raiders in a disaster of a game.
Buffalo, 14-point favorites over my New England Patriots.
We touched on Buffalo, 30 plus in 8 straight games.
Rolling.
The D has given up a ton of points lately. Yeah. They have. I told you that's the Rams and the Lions. But the Pats are not the Rams and the Lions. Could I see New England slowing the game down a bit? Sure. But you got to figure, I don't know. They're going to have to score to cover that spread. I don't know. It's a big spread.
I'm aware. I can do math, Santa.
I'm just trying to help you.
Patriots cover, Buffalo wins.
I hate laying 14 points. This isn't a spread I'd love to play, but for that reason, I can't see them holding Buffalo to under.
Buffalo wins by 13.
That could happen. Not a crazy pick, but I'm going to take Buffalo to win and cover that enormous spread.
Anyway, on to Sunday night in Dallas. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are 4-point favorites at the Cowgirls.
So, the Cowgirls, here we go. 1-6 at home and against the spread at home this year, which is obviously brutal. They've actually played some good ball. They've been playing for McCarthy. I'll give them that. They won at Carolina last week pretty convincingly. Cooper Rush settled in, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception last 4 games. And honestly, they should have beaten Cincinnati. They had a fluke play to cost them. I'll give them credit. They've played hard. They still mathematically have a chance. They're not going to make it. But Tampa Bay is rolling. 4-game winning streak atop the NFC South. Trounced the Chargers in LA, who has a really good defense. Baker and the boys are rolling. Bucky Irving, young running back. He's back healthy, which is a big factor. What you're looking at.
Baker and the boys cover and win.
Yeah, you know what? This is one of those games. The Tampa Bay defense, though, has not been great. I'm gonna give me Dallas to cover. I feel like they played pretty decently. Give me them to cover, but Tampa definitely. If you're playing the game, Tampa should win this game.
Okay, well, on to Monday night in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. We have Green Bay 14-point favorites over New Orleans.
Well, Green Bay looks to be in high gear. They lost a few weeks ago, a close game at Detroit at the buzzer. They dominated Seattle. Run game in particular, completely dominant. New Orleans, They play hard under their new coach. I'll give them that. That's Rizzy. They played all right. They were down big. They came way back. Spencer Rattler came in. He's going to be back at QB.
Okay.
They showed some heart against Washington. They got the 8 sacks, but that's against Washington at home. Oh, Alvin Kamara, big note about this. Their star running back for the Saints, he's going to be out. So,
that's a big loss.
Yeah, there's some issues there. Big spread again.
I don't love these big spreads, so I'm going to say New Orleans covers and Green Bay rolls to a win.
I can't argue that, and Green Bay's playing Minnesota next week. You're think maybe looking ahead, but I can't see the Saints similar to the
Cats.
I think the Pats have been. I can't see the Saints doing enough to score. I hate these big spreads, but if I'm going to play it, I'm going to take Green Bay. Yeah.
Well, Santa, it's time for you to give the gift of the paper bag.
Ho, ho, ho!
So, without further ho, ho, ho.
This is not humbug. Do you know why?
Because you're very happy about this?
You know why?
Because it's not the G-Man.
It's not the G-Man. It is Christmas. It's a Christmas miracle. So, we'll change hats, and we're going to give this to... Got to take the beard off for this one. The Indianapolis Colts, ladies and gentlemen. So, an utter debacle last week. It truly was. So, you talk about a season-changing play. It actually happened.
Here, let me help you out there.
Yeah, help Santa out here. This is a struggle. A lot of equipment.
Gets me back in the night.
A lot of stress this time of year. Jonathan Taylor was about to run a 41-yard touchdown run. They would have put them up 2 scores and probably win the game in a must-win.
Yeah, we talked about this on the Thursday night podcast.
He literally just let the ball drop before the goal line. It's become this trend for these guys to, I guess, it's show off to whatever, to look cool.
You can show off once you cross the goal line, buddy.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, I thought about it more and more. I thought maybe suspend for a game. No, I think it's 4 weeks in North Korea with Kim Jong-un. What do you think?
Sure, Santa. Whatever you say.
Not only that, later in the game, they have a trick play where Donnie Mitchell tries to lateral back to Anthony Richardson, the quarterback. It's like he threw it right to Nick Bonito of Denver. Literally didn't miss his stride, 50 yards in the end zone. Denver scores again. Indy went from a season-saving win to a debacle of a loss, 5 straight turnovers. Chase out there, I talked to you. It's a debacle. You know it. It's terrible. Awful loss by Indy, season ending. They earn in flying colors the Christmas week paper bag. Thank you to them. Not my team there.
A distinctive paper bag there, Santa. Well, Santa, I'll let you get your hat back on, get your beard adjusted there, and I'll kick it over to you to kind of reveal what we're doing for this Christmas weekend. I know you're a busy man, Santa.
Well, we're going to start off. We have some college football games on as well, starting this evening, Friday.
Yes.
We're going to be watching that because Santa loves his football of any kind. We're going to do a Christmas bar crawl with friends around Quincy. Apparently, it's going to snow. Santa's favorite type of weather.
I hope it snows, Santa. Turn that rain to snow.
So I think I might have a couple of glasses of eggnog tonight to kind of, it's a stressful time of year for me. I got a lot of little kiddies out there. Happy birthday to Lily Trees, by the way.
Happy birthday, Lily Trees.
And one other, Tommy White out there. Happy belated birthday. Santa took a little heat about that for forgetting it. Yeah. And Tommy White's not going to want the G-Men to win because he's going to lose his mind if they win and blow the draft pick. So hopefully Atlanta wins for Tommy. Then you carry the rest. We're gonna go
we're gonna head down to America's hometown for an early Christmas celebration before we catch Santa's sleigh down to Florida. Well,
then Christmas morning we're taking that sleigh. Rudolph's gonna lead us right down to Florida to see my dad and family. Aunt Pam gonna go to a college football bowl game. It's gonna be a great Christmas week.
I can't wait. So we hope you all enjoy some Christmas cheer. Thanks so much for tuning into the Breaking It Downs podcast.
Yeah, and Santa would like to thank everybody out there who tunes in. Thank you very much. We have a great time with you guys. I promise to treat you guys well on Christmas Day because you've all been good boys and girls. Cheers. Merry Christmas. And happy football, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.